game, we have Turtles Texans coming off a really tough loss at the end there with Nick Chubb scoring the unnecessary touchdown, putting the ball in Baker's hands and having him march down the field. I don't want Turtle to have to relive it any more than he is now going through it. But the Texans are traveling to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars, who are also coming off a tough loss. So both teams here looking to bounce back. This is kind of a huge game, I would say, for both the Texans and the Jaguars.
Loser leaves town type game?
It's a loser leaves town match. That's for sure.
Some are saying.
And we'll have our, Christian and I are Bears fans. Mike is a Browns fan, so we're used to being losers. But welcome to the club, Turtle. Welcome to the loser club. Let's hear from our resident Texans expert, Turtle, on his thoughts on last week and his thoughts for Texans Jaguars this week.
Look, it wasn't too long ago that I was a part of the losers club. I mean, go back to Davis Mills, what we thought revived both of our franchises, the Bears and the Texans respectively. We were both talking about building Lovie Smith statue after the 2023 NFL season. But alas, here we are. And I'm just so disappointed in just the team in general. Like, I'll start with the offense. Obviously, that's the big bugaboo for the entire team right now. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed from last year. Still struggling. At least D'Amico Ryan said this is where you're getting into a weird game of telephone. D'Amico Ryan said that they struggled to communicate up front on Monday night. CJ Stroud goes up to the podium and says that the communication was fine. Don't love that as far as it goes to your head coach to quarterback relationship there. But yeah, offensive line still an issue. This team can't run the football. They talked all offseason about being a more physical football team, and they can't get 1 yard running the ball unless the other team, I guess, apparently lets you get 25 yards. That was the best run of the night, by the way. If you take out that Nick Chubb touchdown run, they ran the ball 18 times for 36 yards. Just pitiful. By the way, this offense hasn't had more than 300 yards. Actually, sorry. This offense has had more than 270 yards total offense in a single game so far this season. That's got to be worse in the league, if not one of the worst. So, yeah, the Nick Caley experience so far kind of just looks like Bobby Slowick as far as play calling, the time of play calls. Yeah, man, super disappointing on offense. Defense, obviously, it's held its own. I mean, two pretty solid football teams you've lost to. You've held, to an average of 17 points. Really disappointed the tackling at the end of the game on Monday. Henry To'oTo'o should have had Baker Mayfield wrapped up on that 4th and 10, lets him go by. Bucky Irving looks like he's Mike Allstott bouncing off 6 guys and getting the ball into the red zone. I mean, just pitiful excuse for tackling. They didn't defend the run really well, but you know what? If you hold the other team to 20 points, I'd kind of expect to win that football game. So I don't want to give the defense a pass. There's stuff the defense has to clean up, but I still think that unit will be okay as far as the rest of the season goes. But, man, this offense, something's got to change, and maybe getting Christian Kirk back helps you out a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know, man.
Can he play O-line?
In the dumps right now.
No, he can't play line.
By the way, let's do this exercise right now because I was thinking about it last night. I'm going to rattle off the list of 0-2 teams, and you guys let me know if you want to be in the dregs with these folks, okay? The New Orleans Saints, the New York Jets, Miami Dolphins, who we talked about already, Carolina Panthers, Cleveland Browns, who we talked about already, Tennessee Titans, New York Giants, and then our 2 teams, Chicago Bears, Houston Texans, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are your 0-2 football teams right now. Chiefs. I see one other good team in there.
Chiefs company.
Chiefs. We're in Chiefs territory, boys. We'll see you all in February.
If you told me that we had the same record as the Chiefs at any point this season, I'd be pretty happy with that. But
it's true. So we can check that off the box. But no, I mean, as far as this game goes, look, Jacksonville's offense has looked pretty viable so far with Travis Etienne seeing a bit of a revival. Granted, they played the Bengals defense, and I think they played some weaker defenses in the first 2 weeks, but this will be a different step up in class for them. One thing I guess I can get optimistic about as far as pass rush goes, I think that the Rams and the Bucks are probably, a couple tiers ahead of Jacksonville. I mean, Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen are solid players, but I still think that as far as defenses giving you challenges, I think that a Todd Bowles defense and then a Rams defense are much, much harder tests than this defense. So maybe the offense can hopefully get some confidence and kind of get a slump buster here against Jacksonville, but they're kind of guilty until proven innocent. For me in my book right now, I mean, I think if they get to 20 points, they probably win this football game because I don't think Jacksonville's going to have a ton of success offensively that they've had over the last 2 games just because the step up in class. But yeah, it's tough, man. You're on the road divisional game. Again, I think this offense has got to score 24 points, I think, to win the Super Bowl game. And I don't know if I trust them to do that at this point.
It's basically a pick 'em right now, right? I think
Yeah,
Jaguars have
I
a
think I saw
-1
Texans.
at
I think I
home.
saw Texans. Yeah, I saw some 1.5s out there earlier today. So I mean, maybe you can get the Texans coming back at even money on the money line. But
Yeah, I
yeah, I
mean,
don't know, man.
no, go
I
ahead.
It
think
seems
I
short. It
think
seems like
you're
a short number. I think the Texans are. I think the Texans are a couple points better than the Jags, but I'm biased. I could be wrong. I mean, the market clearly seems to think that the Texans are probably only a point better than Jacksonville, if that.
Would you give
I think it's a
yourself a
lot of
little
factoring
grace?
in kind of the
Would you give
chaos
yourself a
right
little
now.
grace with the Rams, Buccaneers? I mean, that's a tough draw off the bat for anybody who's going at it. But I mean, just obviously,
Again, but when you're a team that
You got to
when
have
you're a team
serious
that's
concerns about that offense right now.
yeah,
You know,
when
how
you're
it's
a
going
team
down.
that when you're a team that's lost in the divisional round for 2 years in a row, um, I expect them to beat good teams, especially at home in prime time. Like I expect them to win football games. I expect them to win those football games because a lot of the good teams in the NFL, you can even take like the Eagles, for example, like teams like that when they're favorites in prime time at home, they win those football games. Like good teams find a way to beat other good teams. Like I don't want the narrative to be, and that's kind of what the narrative kind of came true in my opinion is, well, this is a team that kind of feast off the dregs of their own division or feasted off a weak schedule. They didn't play the hardest schedule CJ Stroud's rookie year. Granted, they were a team that was expected to win 6 games and they won 10. I mean, that was a good season, but now there's different expectations for this team. And it's been that way for 2 years now, and they've underachieved, I think, so far for the last 18 months. They've underachieved. Um, Something's got to flip here. And look, I know we're going to get to the Bears. The Texans rebuilt their offensive line. They didn't spend the same amount of resources the Bears did to rebuild it, and we both still suck. So I guess I got that solace for me, but I had to take an unnecessary shot there. Sorry, boys, but
Hey, hurt
yeah,
people
I don't
hurt
know.
people.
Yeah, it's true. I think they this might be a get right game for them. I think they can handle. They have to win the next 2 games because you play Jacksonville and you play Tennessee. You've got to win those two. You get back to 500, and you go on the road to Baltimore. At least if you lose to Baltimore, you're 2-3, and you have the bye, and you can kind of come back and get settled after that. But you can't be going into the bye 1-4. I think it's a much different story. They've got to win 2 of the next 3 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, this feels kind of like a
Somehow, someway.
must win for both sides in terms of whether you want to get that second spot in the AFC South or possibly, contend for the division title.
Yeah, and Pat, we got to
Tough,
eat crow on
yeah.
the Colts so far. I mean, we got to eat crow on the Colts side. Daniel
So
Jones looks
far,
really.
I
Listen,
think the pieces around him are there. I never had any doubts about the Colts O line or their weapons, but I did not think that the quarterback could be able to put it all together.
or
the
their
way that he
coach, or like, because I like Shane Steichen as a play caller.
Yeah.
Shoot, I wish he sucked so he got fired so we can have him as the OC.
I'm going to say he'd be a very good
'Cause
OC on a good team.
he would
But
be an awesome OC on a good team, especially with a team with a defensive head coach. But alas, he's got his squad in a good spot right now. Daniel Jones looks really comfortable. Yeah, you're 2 games back out of the chute. I wouldn't be lying. I don't know if I've hit the panic button. I've certainly hit the panic button on offense, but my one fear, and I talked about it earlier with the Browns, is your defense can only keep up that energy for so long. Like if you start hemorrhaging football games and you're losing games 20-19, you know you're losing games 14-9, like, and the offense isn't carrying their weight. it does kind of put like a, offense versus defense type mentality into the football team. And if once you have that, dude, you're dead. Like this team will be dead. And that's what I don't want to happen for the offense. I just want average at this point. I
Does it
want
give
an
you
average run game. I want an average O line, and just let CJ Stroud be, even though just above average. I think when he had time on Monday night, he made some good throws. But I think once he kind of gets moved off his platform, or like when the rush really starts hitting him, is when things start to spiral out of control. Because that opening drive and that first couple drives looked really good as far as moving the football, and it came unraveled.
I'm taking the Jags in this one, but does it give you any solace that you're going up against a defense that just gave up 3 touchdowns to Jake Browning, though? Like, I mean,
you picked him off 3 times too. I mean, I know it's Jake Browning, but it's again, again, like I said, it's a step down, I think, from the defenses they faced through the first 2 games. But this offense hasn't shown that they have any confidence. They themselves, and I don't have a lot of confidence in them, to be honest. They haven't gotten over 270 yards of total offense in a game so far. I mean, that is pitiful. You're talking about you're not eclipsing 100 yards rushing. I think CJ Stroud's been their leading rusher in both games. Or if it wasn't for that last second Chubb touchdown they possibly let him score on, then
Yeah,
CJ Stroud would be your.
possibly.
Then,
I was
yeah,
I
then
was going to
CJ.
say
It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but
it only
yeah,
won
like
them the
then
game. But
CJ Stroud would be your leading rusher through 2 games. Like
it,
that.
it does look like
That's
he's
brutal.
making a lot of throws under duress, and they're just kind of, I mean,
He has no run. He has no run game. He has one good receiver. He has no O line. Like
okay, and
it's hard.
you
It's
bring
hard
up
to
one good
succeed in
receiver,
that.
Turtle. I did want to ask you how you feel about Nick Caley's usage of Nico Collins so far this year, because when I watch the Texans just as a casual observer, and when I think of Nico Collins, I think of those intermediary routes along the middle of the field. Get him in space, get him the ball. I feel like Nick Caley has kind of moved off
Well,
of that. I'm seeing a lot more.
it's
Yeah, go
weird.
ahead.
It's like in game. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, the first 2 drives they were looking his way. I mean, I know his first catch was that touchdown, but through the first 2 drives, he had, I think, at least like 3 or 4 targets, including that touchdown catch, and then they just went away from him entirely. It's mind boggling to me. And again, especially same problem as last year. This team is living in 2nd and 8 and 3rd and 9, and third and 7, 2nd and 12, like living in these down and distance scenarios that are so suboptimal that it's just hard for an offense and a quarterback to succeed in that scenario when you're always in those suboptimal down and distance situations. It's tough, and it's tough to watch. And
So
also
where's go ahead.
it lets the pass rush just tee up in those scenarios too. Like it's easy to, especially when, don't get me started on Dare Agumbawale. The one thing he's in there to do is pass block, and you can't. And I was texting you guys about it. You can't fucking pass block. And that's the thing. He's a tendency, like he's the opposite of a tendency breaker. When Dare Agumbawale's in there on 3rd down, you immediately know this is a pass play. This is an absolute monster pass play without a doubt. And they did it at the goal line too. Dare Agumbawale on 4th down at the goal line. It's like this is very clearly a pass.
I don't mean to scare you,
just mind-boggling,
Turtle, but
dude.
this is word for word exactly what I was saying about Travis Homer and the Bears after week 2 of last year against the Texans, where it was just a
the
clear
Texans have been
telegraph.
doing this for
It's a
years,
bad omen
dude.
for the OC
Years. Yeah,
when
it's
you give
just
that many tells to the defense.
But also, you can't trust your team to get one single yard. And I've always been I think I probably said it on this podcast before. If you're a football team and you can't get a yard when you need a yard, you are not a good football team, no matter what. That's why the Eagles are so good. You can say it's tush push or not, but even predates the tush push. Like if your football team can't line up and get 1 yard just based off of being physical, you don't deserve to win a single football game. A
I
single
also
one.
I also think this game also showed how much you guys miss Joe Mixon. Like, I mean, that would have made such a big difference in terms of being able to have
As far as
anyone,
talent perspective, yeah, but
anyone in the
I
back.
don't think he did that last year where Joe Mixon was successful last year because of just how good Joe Mixon is and not because of the offensive line or
Yeah.
anything. And yeah, God, we need Joe Mixon just to make this offensive line look serviceable. But who knows when Mixon won't be back until I guess until after the bye at the absolute earliest. If you had, I know he's definitely out the first 4 games, but I don't think he comes back week 5. I think they just wait until after the bye, and that would be the earliest. But they haven't given any indication of that. So
Yeah, Turtle, you're not gonna like it, but I am gonna go with the Jags at home in this one. It feels like a
I'm
pick
not
'em.
blaming you guys.
It's tough. They can run the ball. I really like what I've seen from Travis Etienne so far this year.
Texans didn't defend the run well last week, so again,
And as
I
much as
don't.
it pains me to say, as a Ben Johnson and Bears fan, Liam Cohen, there have been some hiccups with Trevor Lawrence and what he's done, but overall, the way that offense is functioning, I like what I've seen so far from Liam Cohen and his schemes, if nothing else. But they've got to get stuff figured out with Trevor Lawrence. Then again, facing the Texans in that defensive front, who had the game won on Monday night against a very good Buccaneers team. Like you said, if To'o Roll Tide, by the way, completes that sack, then we're not talking about any of this. It's a good gritty win off the back of the defense, and you feel good at 500. But
They had special teams too.
yeah,
Special teams
and,
came.
right.
I mean, that was they. I thought special teams was going to win them the football game. You talk about block. Another thing about the offense too, you block a punt, you get the ball up there at the 35-yard line, and they get 0 yards. 0 yards after blocking that punt. They don't move the ball an inch.
That'll piss the defense off a little bit.
You gave up
Piss everybody off. I was
Yeah.
fucking pissed.
You gave up 20 and 14 points. Like, that should be enough in the National Football League to win some football games. Like, it's
Yeah.
I mean, there's questions, man.
Christian, where are you at on Jags Texans?
Yeah, I got to go with the Jaguars just because I think they can run the ball, establish the run. I don't think the Texans can run the ball right now. I think Mixon hurts a lot. Maybe Jake Andrews helps coming back from the sprained ankle. We will see. But, yeah, I don't see any push on that O-line. Trevon Walker looked very good last week. Combine him with Hines Allen, I think they're going to have a pretty good day on Sunday. I think Toe, the linebacker, Roll Tide, unfortunately, I think he's been one of the worst linebackers in pass coverage.
Yeah, none of
so
them are
far
good at
this year.
pass coverage, Christian. Aziz was working on that all offseason. He had a pick go right through his hands.
And I think because of that, I like I believe I'm going to take Brenton Strange's score this week. And I just think the inability to run the football is going to hurt the Texans right now. But like I said, most of their wins from what I see on their schedule are going to come at the end of the year. Hopefully they can get healthy. Hopefully they can make a move maybe. I will say for the Jags, Bushell Tootin, the rookie, looked really good as a backup running back to Etienne. I'd expect him to have over 50 yards rushing this weekend. And I think the only concern I have for the Jaguars right now is Brian Thomas Jr. He did not look very good last weekend. So he's got to get going for them to continue to have success this year. But ultimately, I got too many concerns about the Texans. I do like Tootin over 50 yards, Brenton Strange to score a touchdown. And I do love the under in this game. I think that it's at 44.5. I like the under right now.
Yeah, that I 24-20. Whoever wins the football game, 24-20 sounds like the right outcome at most. One last point on the Texans, and I want to make a point about their defense real quick. You mentioned the pass coverage from linebackers, Christian. That was weakness going into this season. I think a lot of it also has to do with like D'Amico's scheme and this whole, swarm, super aggressive mentality. I think these linebackers, I'm going to include Jalen Petrie in that. They're very aggressive, obviously, when they're playing run defense. And I think that's why they get gashed so often because they're so downhill that it'll lead to some big tackles for loss and whatnot. But a lot of them get out of position and sometimes just sloppy tackling and just undisciplined stuff that needs to get really cleaned up on this defense. Again, I'm not worried about the talent level and their capabilities, but from someone a head coach that played the game, I expect a higher level of discipline than that's been shown. And also, they got to stop putting Jalen Petrie in coverage and blitzing him off the edge, because when he blitzes off the edge, he looks slow for some reason. And when he's matched up against a slot receiver or a tight end, it's cookies, unfortunately. I like him as a nickel. I like the stuff you can do with him, but they've been playing him in coverage way too often. I mentioned that after week 1. Kind of did it again week 2. So something that's changed schematically for D'Amico. I kind of have some some faith in him that he'll figure it out, but we'll see. I do expect better discipline from this defense, though, as far as tackling and like gap integrity and all that sort of stuff that gets lost in the wash. Because when you watch this defense, dude, I'll give the defense credit. They're physical. They punish opposing teams when they play them. I'll give the defense that. I love seeing that, but they need to clean up some of the stuff, some of the fundamental stuff.
And just to give you a little dose of optimism, just on my end, you have the defense, and you're playing in the AFC South still, and we can talk about how good the Colts have looked. But at the end of the day, if you're able to win this game, I think you feel real good about your chances to rebound. Offense has to get some things figured out, but if you win this game, it'll likely be because the defense was able to overwhelm Trevor Lawrence, shut down the run game, and that'll give you a lot of confidence in terms of at that point, if you take care of the Jaguars, all you have to do is deal with Daniel Jones. And he's looked good, but I still have yet to be a believer. Sorry to cut you off, Christian. What were you going to say?
I just think I think there has to be some serious consideration made into maybe getting an offensive coach for CJ just to get this thing figured out long term.
That's juicy. I don't see that happening. The owners love D'Amico. I personally love D'Amico as a coach. It's just, I mean, it's always a concern when you hire a defensive head coach is, who's going to coach the offense. And if you do find somebody good, they leave for head coaching jobs. So,
but so if things go wrong, right, and you end up missing the playoffs this year, Caserio is realistically safe. D'Amico,
I think they run it. I think they run it back for one more year, but
with no Kaylee.
Well, that remains to be seen.
If they don't make the playoffs, it'll probably be you're going to be blaming Kaylee. If I look in my crystal ball here of a turtle take in the future, I bet it's going to be because of Nick Kaylee.
Yeah, I don't want to speak that into existence or it's a long ways away. It's a long ways away. I mean,
we're already writing the Texans obituary over here.
Yeah, see, that's I talked about it after week 1. You don't want to overreact. It's only 2 weeks, so I don't want to overreact. They
almost won this game too. If
the refs, they're able to. I'll die on that hill. The refs blew another game. I'll die on that hill.
They did kind of give a makeup call. They did kind of give a makeup call. The tripping was bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, total trip. Kind of I don't think it was a block in the back personally, but people were arguing that the block in the back on the Jalen Noel
on the return.
Yeah.
But
go ahead. That seemed ticky tacky though.
Are you?
Let's get Jalen Noel involved. Screw it. I mean, guy looks like he's got some juice. I love Jalen.
Jaden Higgins involved.
I was just saying, are you confident? Are you confident with him as a second passing option?
So Higgins or Noel?
They're not using him as a second passing option.
I'm saying he should be. He should be.
We get Kirk. We're getting Kirk. We're getting Kirk. Yeah. We get Kirk back this week. Again, it's 2 weeks in. I'd be lying to you guys. I'd say I wasn't disappointed in how any of the wide receivers have been schemed up. Everything on offense just looks like a clusterfuck, for lack of a better term. You can't run the ball. Your passing plays is solely dependent on the talent of Nico Collins and CJ Stroud. Nothing's been overly. They had one good scheme play to Jaden Higgins in the fourth quarter of last night's game. Jaden Higgins' only catch and only target of the night was a 28-yard kind of drag route across the middle. He was wide open, and I'm like, where is that all game? Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that more? It's mind-boggling, dude. I don't know. There was also a play, I'm cherry-picking plays here, but very clearly the Bucs were sending blitz, and you could count them. It was six guys, including the defensive front, 6 guys blitzing, only 5 guys were blocking, and every single receiver ran a curl route. And I'm like, what are we doing here? There's got to be an option to get the ball out quick for CJ, but when you're man-to-man coverage, those DBs were not giving space at all. and every single receiver runs a curl route, yeah, what's she's going to take the sack? He can't get the ball out fast enough, especially when it's only 5-on-6. That's why the stuff is mind-boggling to me. Like, where's the? It looks like Bobby Slowick. Like, where's this? Where's the scheme? Where's the we scheming guys open at? We haven't schemed anybody open at all. I haven't watched one play where somebody's been schemed open. Not one.
First time play callers, bro. First time play callers. That's all
I gotta
can
hope
say.
Nick Haley gets better. I mean, I was really bullish on him. I liked all the stuff that was coming out of camp. I liked the talk of it. I liked the talk of being more physical, and none of it has showed the first 2 games. But let's move on. And all that being said, I am taking Texans to win on Sunday.
Despite everything you said.
All the doom and gloom.
All right, and for our next game, it is officially